Zane here. So glad you're here with me. Where are you listening from? Let's talk below. When my boss told me she needed me to pretend to be her husband for 1 year, the first thing that fell out of my mouth was, "Do we have to sleep in the same bed?" Yeah, I actually said that. To the most feared woman in our company. My name is Adam Bennett. I am 28, born in a dusty little town in Texas, now trying to survive in Denver. On paper, I am a junior copywriter at Sterling Marketing Solutions. It sounds creative and cool, but my real life is a gray cubicle, cheap coffee, and writing lines for ads people scroll past without a second thought. Every morning, I ride the light rail into the city with half-awake strangers. I wear the same few shirts. I get the same watery coffee from the lobby machine. I sit at my desk and try to make local beer or gym memberships sound exciting for the 10th time. Home is a small one-bedroom in a rough part of Capitol Hill. Peeling paint, rattling heater, a neighbor's dog that barks at random hours. At night, I eat takeout burritos, stare at my old laptop, and send what little money I can to my mom in Texas. Mom is 62. She lives alone in our old house outside Austin. My dad used to fix trucks until his body gave out. Then came lung cancer. The hospital bills hit us like a storm. Even after he died, the bills kept coming. I took out loans, maxed my credit cards, did everything I could so Mom would not lose the house. Now I am over $50,000 in debt. The number sits in my head like a brick. 2 weeks before this fake husband thing started, my landlord slid an eviction notice under my door. 3 months behind on rent. No more chances. I tried freelance work. I sold my old camera. I texted college friends I had not spoken to in years. The answers were always the same. Sorry, man. Wish I could help. By that Monday morning, I was hanging on by a thread. I got to the office early, head pounding from another night with no sleep. I opened my email and saw a wall of overdue notices. Medical bills, credit cards, another warning from the landlord. It all blurred together. Then a new email popped up. No subject line. Just one sentence. Meet me in my office. 9 a.m. sharp. Luna S. Luna Sterling. Vice President. Daughter of the founder. My direct boss. People called her the Ice Queen when they thought she could not hear. She wore sharp suits, had a perfect dark bob, and eyes that could cut through stone. She did not come to happy hour. She did not join small talk in the break room. She walked through the office like she owned it, because in a way, her family did. I had only spoken to her a few times. Quick comments on my work. A nod in a team huddle. A short question about a tagline. She never wasted a word. So why did she want to see me? By 8:59, I was standing outside her glass office on the 36th floor. The room was all clean lines and a huge window that showed the Rockies in the distance. I knocked. "Come in," she said. She sat behind her desk, eyes on her laptop. She did not stand. She pointed to the chair across from her. "Sit." My palms were sweating. I was sure I was about to be fired. Instead, she closed her laptop and slid a thick folder toward me. "Open it," she said. I flipped it open and felt my stomach drop. Inside were copies of my life. Hospital bills from my dad's treatment. Bank statements in red. My credit report. Even a scan of the eviction notice from my apartment door. My throat went dry. "How did you get all this?" "I had my assistant run a background check," she said, like it was nothing. "You are in free fall, Adam. No savings. High debt. 3 months behind on rent. You will not last another month." I felt naked under her gray eyes. Angry too. "Why?" I asked. "Why look into me like this? What does this have to do with my job?" "It does not," she said. "This is not about work. This is about a proposal." "A proposal?" I repeated. She leaned back, studying me. "My father set up a trust. Before he died. The terms say that to keep control of my shares and my position, I must be married by the end of this year and stay married for at least 12 months. If not, control shifts to my brother, Derek." I had seen Derek around the office. Expensive suits. Smooth smile. Eyes that never smiled with his mouth. People said he wanted Luna's job and would do anything to get it. "I am not going to let that happen," Luna said. "But I also do not want a real marriage built on lies. That is where you come in." "Me?" I croaked. "I need a husband," she said. "On paper. 12 months. No more, no less. We marry. We live together. We attend events as a couple. When the year is over, we end it cleanly. No claim on my assets, no shared accounts. In return, I clear all your debts. Medical, rent, cards. And I pay you $100,000 at the end of the term so you can start over. The room went quiet. I could hear my heartbeat. This is insane, I said softly. You do not even know me. I know enough, she replied. I have watched you. You work hard. You do not cause drama. You do not brag. You are desperate, but you still show up. I need someone I can trust not to use this against me. Someone who has something to lose if they break the rules. This is a marriage, I said. Even if it is fake. People will talk. Your family, the board, HR. What do I tell my mom? We will tell them the story we choose, she said. HR already knows I am considering a personal relationship with an employee. Another manager will handle your reviews. The rest is image. I am very good at image. Her calm scared me almost as much as my debt. I am not asking you to decide now, she added. Think about it. If you say no, this folder disappears and we never speak of it again. If you say yes, your life changes. So does mine. That night, in my small, noisy apartment, I paced until sunrise. Pride told me this was wrong, that I would be selling myself. Desperation showed me Mom's house with a foreclosure sign on the lawn. By morning, my choice felt like a stone in my chest. At 9 a.m., I was back in her office. I will do it, I said. I will be your husband for 1 year. Something eased in her shoulders. She opened a drawer, took out a simple contract, and placed it in front of me. Then sign, she said. As my pen scratched my name across the page, I felt my old life fall away. I did not know if I had just saved myself from drowning or tied myself to a weight I could not carry. That same afternoon, everything moved fast. She slid a key card in a small white envelope across the desk. This is the address to my building, she said. Penthouse floor. Pack what you need. A driver will pick you up at 5. Today? I asked. The sooner we start, the more natural it will look, she replied. Back at my apartment, packing took less time than I thought it would. My life fit into 2 suitcases. Some clothes. A few books. My old laptop. A framed photo of my parents in front of Dad's truck, both smiling like the future was wide open. At 5 sharp, a black SUV pulled up. The driver knew my name. The ride downtown felt like a one-way trip to another world. The elevator to the penthouse needed the key card to move. When the doors opened, I stepped into a space that looked like a magazine spread. Floor-to-ceiling windows. White walls. Gray leather. Perfect and cold. Luna stood by the kitchen island with a tablet in her hand. Even in simple clothes, she looked like she was running a board meeting. Your room is down that hall, she said. Second door on the left. Closet is empty. Bathroom is yours. We will move some of your things in fast, so it looks real. Photos. Mail. That kind of thing. I nodded, still staring at the view of the city and the mountains. She slid a thick binder across the counter. Read this tonight, she said. Memorize as much as you can. I opened it. The first page was titled Public Behavior Guidelines. There were notes on how to stand next to her, where to put my hand for photos, what to say if someone asked how we met. There was even a line about how to hold a wine glass. This is intense, I said. It has to be, she replied. My brother is waiting for any crack he can find. We cannot give him one. I flipped to the next section. Our fake story was written out in simple lines. We met at a charity event in Aspen. We hit it off. We kept things quiet because of office gossip. Small private wedding out of town. You already told your family? I asked. Some of them, she said. The rest will expect to see proof soon. I looked up at her, standing in that glass box in the sky, calm and untouchable. Any questions? She asked. Only one pushed to the front of my mind. In private, I said slowly, what are the rules? You will have your own room, your own space, she answered. This is not about romance. It is about survival. The question slipped out before I could stop it. Do we have to sleep in the same bed? For the first time since I met her, something like surprise flashed in her eyes. Then she actually laughed, a quick real sound that shocked me. No, Adam, she said. We do not have to sleep in the same bed. I told myself I was relieved. I had no idea then how fast that promise would start to blur. The first night in the penthouse, I did not sleep much. The guest room bed was huge, the sheets crisp and clean. The closet was bigger than my whole old bedroom. I lined up my worn shirts like they had to prove they belonged in that space. It felt like I was staying in a hotel that somehow belonged to someone else's life. Dinner was quiet. Luna ordered sushi and ate at the long table while checking emails on her tablet. I sat across from her, picking at my food, looking at the city lights through the glass. We talked about work like we were just co-workers who happened to share a roof. No jokes, no flirting, just safe topics and the sound of her fingers on the screen. By 10, she stood, nodded once, and said, "Good night, Adam." Then she disappeared down the hall to the master bedroom at the other end. The silence in that place felt heavy. No loud neighbors. No pipes clanking. No dog barking. Just a soft hum from the building and the distant sound of traffic far below. The next few weeks fell into a strange rhythm. In the mornings, we left the penthouse together. In the elevator, we stood side by side, close enough that our shoulders brushed. In the lobby, if someone from the office was there, she would step a little closer, hook her hand lightly around my arm, or touch my wrist when she spoke to me. It felt careful and practiced. In the office, she went back to being Vice President Sterling. Sharp, focused, controlled. I went back to being Adam from Copy. We barely spoke unless it was about work. Sometimes I caught myself looking at her in meetings, wondering how the same woman who sat across from me at our kitchen island at night could look so cold at 10 in the morning. At home, we passed each other in the kitchen. Sometimes we ate together. Sometimes we did not. Some nights she came home late, still in a blazer, heels in her hand, eyes tired. Other nights she was already there when I walked in, hair down, laptop open, phone pressed to her ear. Our lives were tangled, but our hearts were still on opposite sides of a line. Our first real test came with an invite. A company gala downtown. She had a suit delivered to the penthouse for me and a dress for herself. The suit fit like it had been made just for my body. I barely recognized myself in the mirror. I looked like a man who did not have debt chasing him, a man who belonged in expensive rooms. When Luna stepped out of her bedroom, I forgot how to breathe for a second. She wore a long black gown that hugged her body in a way that was sharp and elegant at the same time. Diamonds at her ears. Her hair pulled back to show her neck and jaw. She looked like a woman from a magazine cover, only very, very real and standing in the same hallway as me. "Ready?" she asked. "I hope so," I said. "You look," I caught myself before I said something stupid. "You look perfect." Her eyes held mine for a small second, then she nodded. "You clean up well too." At the hotel ballroom, there were lights, music, people in suits and long dresses, the sound of glasses and low laughter. As we stepped in, heads turned. I felt her arm slide through mine, her hand rest just above my wrist. "This is where you smile," she said softly without looking at me. So I smiled. We moved through groups of clients and executives. I shook hands, told our Aspen story, laughed when I was supposed to laugh. The script from the binder rolled off my tongue smoother than I expected. "We met at a charity event in Aspen," I said for the 5th time that night. She bumped into me and spilled wine on my shirt. I figured anyone who could do that and not apologize more than once was someone I wanted to know. People laughed. People looked jealous. People looked curious. Everyone seemed convinced. Then he appeared. Derek. He slid into my space like a shadow. Taller than me, older, in a perfect dark suit. His smile was wide and easy, but his eyes were cold and sharp. "So," he said, reaching for my hand, "you are the lucky man my sister finally let into her life." I shook his hand. His grip was too tight, like he was testing how much pressure I could handle. "Adam Bennett," I said. "Nice to meet you." "Oh, I know who you are," he replied. "Junior copywriter. Modest background. Impressive jump into the big leagues." He glanced at Luna. "My sister moves fast when she wants something." Luna's hand tightened on my arm, just a little. Her face stayed calm. "When you know, she said. "I look forward to getting to know you better, Adam," he said. Man to man. The way he said it made my skin crawl. Back at the penthouse that night, Luna kicked off her heels and poured herself a drink. She took a long sip and stared out at the city. The gown was still perfect on her, but the weight in her shoulders looked heavier. "He does not believe it," she said. "Derek?" I asked, like there could be anyone else. She nodded. "He thinks this is a game. He will dig. He will watch. He will poke until something breaks." I leaned against the island across from her. "Then we do not let anything break," I said. "We give him nothing." Her eyes met mine. For a moment, the steel was gone. I saw something raw, tired, a little sad. "You did well tonight," she said quietly. "You looked like you belonged." "That was your suit's fault," I said. "It did most of the work." A small smile touched her lips, quick and real. "You do not give yourself enough credit," she said. You handled the questions. You kept your cool with Derek. That matters. It was just a simple compliment, but it went deep. Maybe because I was not used to anyone looking at me like I was more than my problems. After that night, things shifted in tiny ways. One night, I woke up thirsty and went to get water. The penthouse was dark except for a lamp in the living room. Luna sat on the couch in an old t-shirt and loose pants, nothing like her sharp work clothes. Her laptop was open in front of her. Her shoulders were slumped. "You okay?" I asked. She looked up, surprised, like she had expected to be alone. For once, her face was not guarded. "Just tired." "I am fine," she said out of habit. Then she sighed. "Just a lot on my plate." I poured a glass of water and set it on the table. "Drink," I said. "You look like you have been staring at that screen for hours." She gave a short, tired laugh. "You are not wrong." She took a sip, then glanced at me. "How is your mom?" The question caught me off guard. I had mentioned my mom only once, in passing, but she remembered. "She is hanging in," I said. "Still in Texas, still pretending she is fine on her own." "You miss her," Luna said. "Every day," I admitted. She looked down at her hands. "I know that feeling," she said softly. "Missing someone who is still alive, but far away." Our eyes met. For a moment, the room felt smaller, like the air between us was thicker. Then she closed her laptop. "You should sleep," she said. "You too," I replied. But that little moment changed something. The penthouse started to feel less like a stage and more like a strange shelter we both hid in. Then came the email that blew the careful balance apart. A family weekend at the Sterling estate, up in the foothills. To celebrate the merger, the subject line said. We stood in the kitchen while she read it on her tablet. Her jaw clenched. "They want us both there," she said. "My mother, the board, Derek, everyone. Us," I repeated. As in the happy married couple. As in the couple who met in Aspen, married fast, and are still very much in love, she said. "They will expect to see proof." My stomach tightened. "What kind of proof?" She held my gaze. "We will be given a shared room. One bed. No separate guest wing this time." My heart sped up. "And Derek? He will be watching," she said. "He will look for any sign this is fake." The drive up that Friday was quiet at first. Trees rose on both sides of the road. The big stone house came into view, all perfect lawn and expensive cars. My hands were damp on my knees. "If I pass out," I said, trying to joke, "just tell them the altitude got me." She smiled a little and slid her hand around my arm as we walked up the front steps. Her grip was firm. "Grounding. Remember," she said under her breath. "We are married. We are comfortable. We belong here." Married. Comfortable. Belong, I repeated. The front door opened before we could knock. A woman in her 60s stood there in a soft blue dress. Silver hair, sharp eyes, a face that looked a lot like Luna's. "Luna," she said, her voice warm and surprised. "And this must be Adam." "Yes, Mom," Luna said, and there was a softness in her voice I had never heard. "This is my husband." I stepped forward and held out my hand. "It is really nice to meet you, Mrs. Sterling." "Call me Eleanor," she said, taking my hand and studying my face before she smiled. "Come in, both of you." Inside, the house felt big but lived in. Family photos on the walls. Shelves covered in books. The smell of something good cooking in the kitchen. Voices in the next room. In the main living room, people gathered with drinks and small plates. Conversations dipped when we walked in. I felt the weight of every stare. Derek was the first to cross the room. He kissed Luna on the cheek, then turned to me with that smooth smile. "And the famous husband at last," he said. "Adam, welcome. I hope my sister has not scared you off with her work schedule." "She keeps me on my toes," I said. "I like it that way." Someone asked us to tell the story of how we met. I glanced at Luna. She gave a tiny nod. "Script time again." "We met at a charity event in Aspen," I said. She spilled her drink on my shirt and did not apologize enough. I figured anyone that bold deserved a second chance. Laughter moved through the room. Luna gave a small eye roll that almost looked playful. "When you know," another relative said. "Such a quick marriage." I squeezed Luna's hand. "Life is short," I said. I was not going to pretend I did not know what I wanted. As I said it, her fingers tightened around mine. Just a little. It felt like something more than acting. Dinner was a long table, good food, and careful smiles. Derek made small digs shaped like jokes. "So, Adam, he said. You came from a rough background, and now you are here with us. Must feel like winning the lottery. I met his eyes. I feel lucky, I said. But not because of money. Oh, he asked. I looked at Luna sitting beside me. Because your sister is the toughest person I have ever met, I said. She builds more in a week than most people do in a year. Being beside someone like that makes you want to be better. For a moment, the table went quiet. Then Eleanor smiled, and the tension in the room loosened just a bit. Later, a maid led us up the stairs. Your room, Mrs. Sterling, she said to Luna, opening a door at the end of the hall. The room was beautiful. Soft lamplight, a fireplace, thick rug, and one large bed in the center. The maid left and closed the door behind us. I looked at the bed, then at Luna. Well, I said, my throat dry. At least the bed is big. She let out a slow breath and sat on the edge of it. For the first time all day, I saw the strain land on her shoulders. The strong mask slipped a little. He will not stop, she said quietly. Derek, he will keep pushing until he finds something he can use. I sat down beside her. Not too close, but close enough to feel her warmth. He is fishing, I said. That means he does not have anything real yet. He will, she said. He is good at digging. He always has been. Her voice had a tired edge that pulled at me. Luna, I said softly, you do not have to carry this alone anymore. You have me now. I know I started as a hire, but I am here. I am in this with you. She turned her face toward me, eyes searching mine in the soft light. You really mean that? She asked. My chest tightened. I did not even have to think about it. Yes, I said. I do. The space between us suddenly felt charged. She looked at my mouth, then back up at my eyes. Adam, she said, her voice a little shaky. Can I ask you something? Anything, I answered. If this was real, she asked. If there was no contract, no trust, no money, would you still be here with me? In this room? On this bed? My heart pounded. I knew this was the moment the line could blur for good. And I also knew there was only one honest answer. Yes, I said. I would still be here. With you. In this room. On this bed. Her breath caught. Her eyes searched my face like she was waiting for me to pull the words back. I did not. Slowly, she leaned closer. I met her halfway. The first touch of her lips was soft and careful, like we were both afraid we were doing something wrong and something right at the same time. When she did not pull away, I moved my hand to her waist. Her fingers slid up to my neck. For once, we were not thinking about scripts or stories or who might be watching. There was no fake husband and ice queen boss. There were just two people who had been holding everything in for too long. We did not talk for a while after that. The night moved around us. Sheets rustled. The fire in the room burned low. No cameras. No phones. No audience. Just us. Later, when we finally lay still, she rested her head on my chest. The room was quiet except for our breathing and the faint crackle from the fireplace. That was not part of the contract, she said softly. No, I said, tracing slow circles on her back. It was not. Do you regret it? She asked. I did not even need to think. Not for a second. There was a long pause. I thought she had fallen asleep when she spoke again. Neither do I, she whispered. For the first time since I moved into the penthouse, I fell asleep without feeling like I was about to fall off a cliff. The next morning sunlight slid through the curtains. For a few seconds, waking up with her curled against me felt natural, like this was how it was supposed to be. Then reality came back fast. Luna sat up, pushing her hair back from her face. Her eyes moved around the room, checking everything like she always did. When she looked at the dresser, her frown deepened. She slid off the bed and walked over to the lamp. I watched her lean closer, then pinch something between her fingers. What is it? I asked. She turned, holding a tiny black dot, no bigger than the nail on her thumb. A faint red light blinked on one side. My stomach dropped. Is that a camera? Derek, she said. Her voice was calm, but there was ice under it. He planted cameras. She walked to the dresser and switched it off. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. From anger. He will think this proves something, she said. That we staged everything. That we are lying. I got out of bed and crossed the room to stand beside her. Let him think whatever he wants, I said. He wanted proof this was fake. He got something else. Her eyes lifted to mine. What did he get? He caught the moment I stopped pretending, I said. Her hard expression wavered for a second. Worry moved through her eyes, mixing with something softer. This changes everything, she said. I know, I replied. But maybe it is time everything changed. Voices started up in the hallway. The house came back to life. Somewhere in the building, Derek was probably checking his recordings and planning his next move. We got dressed and went downstairs like nothing had happened. Smiles. Small talk. Breakfast. The drive back to Denver that afternoon felt longer than the ride there. Luna drove this time. Her hands were tight on the wheel. The tiny camera sat in the cup holder between us like a small, dark secret. Your own brother bugged your room, I said, shaking my head. That is beyond messed up. He wants proof, she answered quietly. He thinks if he can show the board this marriage is fake, he can move me out and move himself in. I studied her profile. The set jaw, the shadow under her eyes. She looked strong, but worn down. What did he really catch on that camera, Luna? I asked. She hesitated, then said, he caught me forgetting to act. The days after the estate were worse than the days before. Luna's assistant started forwarding emails. Some were from board members. Some had no names, just attachments. Copies of my old debt records. My hospital-related bills. My past due rent notices. A scanned copy of the contract I had signed with Luna. And then, worse, grainy still images from the hidden camera in the bedroom. Blurry, but clear enough to show us in bed, close and tangled. He sent them to some of the board, Luna said, staring at her tablet at the kitchen island. He is building a case. By the quarterly meeting, he will be ready to ask for a vote. The air in the penthouse felt heavier every night. Luna barely slept. She paced the living room with her laptop, on calls with lawyers and advisors. Her voice was low and sharp, but underneath, I could hear the strain. One evening I found her by the window, arms crossed, staring out at the city lights. For the first time since I met her, she looked small. Talk to me, I said, stepping up beside her. She did not look at me at first. I am scared, Adam, she said quietly. Not just of losing the company. I have lost things my whole life. I can survive that. I am scared of losing you. The words hit me like a punch. You are not going to lose me, I said. Not because of Derek. Not because of a contract. I am here for you, not for the money. Her eyes filled, but she blinked the tears away. She took one step toward me and rested her forehead against my chest. If this blows up, she whispered, you will be dragged into it. They will say you used me. They will call you a fraud. You could lose your job, your name. Then let them talk, I said, wrapping my arms around her. We know what is real. That is what matters. Even as I said it, fear scratched at the back of my mind. The board had real power. They could hurt her. They could hurt both of us. But holding her like that, feeling her finally lean on someone, I knew there was no way I was stepping back. The quarterly meeting came fast. I wore the same suit from the gala. Luna wore a dark blazer and white blouse, clean and strong. In the elevator to the executive floor, she reached for my hand and squeezed once. Whatever happens in there, she said, we do not turn on each other. Promise me. I promise, I said. The boardroom was big and bright, long table, large windows, polished wood. The board members sat in their usual spots with papers and tablets in front of them. At the far end of the room, Derek stood beside a screen, laptop ready, like he had been waiting for this day for years. We went through numbers first. Sales, campaigns, slides, charts. It all washed over me. My heart did not start pounding until Derek cleared his throat. There is one more matter, he said. A matter of trust and integrity. He clicked his laptop. The lights dimmed a little. The screen at the front of the room lit up. First came a scan of our contract. My name. Luna's name. The terms about the trust, the 12 months, the payment, the promise to clear my debts. Red circles around key lines. Murmurs spread around the table. This, Derek said as he walked slowly, is not a love story. This is a deal. My sister paid this man to marry her so she could keep control of this company. She lied to the trust. She lied to all of you. She lied to the public. He clicked again. My old bills filled the screen. Hospital debt from Texas. Past due rent. Red stamps. This, he said, pointing, is the man she brought into the family. Desperate. Drowning in debt. Paid off to play along. Heat rushed to my face. Shame and anger fought in my chest. He clicked one more time and the footage from the estate appeared. Grainy video of us in bed, kissing, close together. Not sharp, but clear enough. Gasps moved around the table. Even their intimacy is staged, Derek said. They knew there were terms. They knew there were eyes. They did what they had to do to make it look good. This is fraud, and it puts this company at risk. When he finished, he folded his arms and leaned back like the job was done. All eyes turned to Luna. She stood slowly. My hands curled into fists under the table. I wanted to say something, but this part had to be her. Yes, she said. Her voice was steady. The marriage started as a contract. I will not lie to you. I did it to protect what I built here. I knew my brother was waiting for a chance to take my place, and I would not hand him the company I have spent years growing. Unethical, Derek cut in with a smug smile. She kept going. I have worked late nights, early mornings. I have made hard choices to keep our people and our clients safe and strong. I was not going to let games and power grabs undo all of that, so I made a decision I am not proud of. Her eyes shifted to me. For a second, the rest of the room faded. But somewhere along the way, she said, her voice softer now, it stopped being fake. I moved a man into my home who had nothing left and watched him show up every day anyway. I watched him care about work that no one else wanted. I watched him send money to his mother when he had almost nothing. I watched him see me. Not my title, not my last name. Me. And I fell in love with him. The murmurs in the room changed. Some faces were doubtful. Some thoughtful. Derek scoffed. Nice speech, he said. But feelings do not erase fraud. I stood up before I could talk myself out of it. He gave me a quick look, like he did not expect me to speak. He is right about one thing, I said. I was desperate when I signed that contract. My dad's cancer bills were crushing us. I was about to be kicked out of my apartment. I thought this was a cold trade. Time for money. I looked at Luna, then back at the board. But that is not what it became, I said. Living with her, seeing how hard she fights, how much she carries, how alone she really was under all that control, it changed me. She did not just buy a husband. She gave me a chance to stand up again. I love her. Not the VP. Not the sterling name. Her. The woman who falls asleep at her laptop because she is scared of failing everyone. The woman who cries quietly when she looks at pictures of her father. The woman who learned to be tough because no one ever let her be soft. The room went silent. Even Derek stopped smirking. Then a voice at the end of the table spoke. Enough. Everyone turned. Eleanor stood up slowly. She had been quiet the whole time. I knew about the contract, she said. Luna came to me before she signed it. I let her learn this lesson the hard way. But Derek planting cameras in his sister's bedroom, leaking private records, trying to ruin her just to grab power, that is not leadership. That is cruelty. She turned to the board. You all know what Luna has done for this company, she said. You have also seen how Derek operates. Ask yourselves who you trust. Not just with money, but with people. With our name. The vote that followed felt like an hour, even though it was only minutes. When it was over, Derek's motion to remove Luna failed. Instead, the board stripped him of his committees and cut his power. His face went pale and tight as the reality hit him. When the meeting ended, the room broke into noise. Some members came over to shake Luna's hand. Some nodded to me. Some avoided our eyes, embarrassed. Eleanor came and hugged her daughter tight, then put a hand on my arm. You stood up for her when it mattered, she said. Thank you. Outside the boardroom, the hallway was quiet. The door clicked shut behind us. For the first time in months, it felt like the floor under my feet was not shaking. We did it, I said, my voice rough. Luna looked at me. Tears shone in her eyes, but her mouth curved in a shaky smile. We did, she whispered. Then she let out a strange, soft laugh. Our contract is almost up, you know. We made it. We could walk away now. Clean. No rules broken. No debts left. My heart clenched. Is that what you want? I asked. She shook her head slowly. The contract can end, she said. I do not want us to. Her words hit me harder than anything in that boardroom. The contract can end, she said. I do not want us to. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. We were standing in a quiet hallway, just two people who had started this whole thing as strangers on a piece of paper. Now my heart felt like it was trying to break out of my chest. Then let it end, I said. The contract, I mean. She frowned a little, like she did not understand yet. I took a step closer. Let the contract end, I repeated. But let us stay married. Not as a deal. Not for the trust. For real. Her lips parted. A tear slipped down her cheek. I reached up and brushed it away with my thumb. Adam, she said in a small voice. Are you sure? There is no money. No safety net. No promise that this will be easy. I am sure, I said. I did not fight in there for a paycheck. I fought for you. For us. She laughed softly, a little broken sound that made my chest ache. Do you remember the first thing you asked me in my office? She asked. I groaned. About the bed? A real smile pulled at her mouth. You asked if we had to sleep in the same bed, she said. Back then I said no, because it was safer that way. Cleaner. Easier to pretend. She took my hand and placed it over her heart. I could feel it pounding fast under my palm. If I asked you that question now, she said quietly, what would you say? I smiled, feeling something inside me finally settle. I would say yes, I said. I want to share your bed, your house, your mornings, your hard days, your storms. I do not want to be your fake husband for a year. I want to be your real husband for as long as you will have me. Her eyes filled all the way this time. She did not wipe the tears away. She let them fall. Then stay, she whispered. I pulled her into my arms. She wrapped her arms around my neck and held on like she had been waiting a long time to do it without rules. In that hallway, outside the room where people judged our lives on paper, we chose something they could not vote on. We chose each other. Months passed. The official contract ended. Lawyers signed things. Papers were filed. On the outside, it looked like the deal was over. Inside our lives, it felt like we were just getting started. We sold the penthouse. It had served its purpose, but it was never home. It was a glass stage, built for a show. Neither of us wanted to live in a place that reminded us of cameras and lies. We bought a small house instead. Nothing huge. A simple place on a quiet street with a porch and a little yard, a short drive from the city. The first night we slept there, the walls felt close and warm, not cold and far away. My debts were gone. The bills with my dad's name were finally paid. The red stamps were just ink. I could breathe when I opened my email. I left Sterling Marketing and took a job at a smaller agency. Less shine, more heart. People learned my name. I wrote work I was proud of. Sometimes, when I stayed late at the office, it was because I wanted to, not because I was afraid of falling behind. Luna stayed at Sterling. The board had backed her. But she changed, too. She still worked hard, but the late nights got fewer. The walls around her softened. Some evenings she came home early, kicked off her shoes, and sat with me on the couch, head in my lap, no laptop in sight. We had fights like any couple. Real ones. Not about contracts or cameras. About dishes in the sink. About how much time she spent at work. About how scared I still was that this could all vanish. But every time, we came back to the same thing. We chose this. Not by force. Not for money. For us. One warm evening, we sat together on the front porch. The sky over Denver was washed in pink and gold. Kids rode bikes down the street. Someone grilled in a yard nearby. I could smell cut grass and charcoal and summer air. We sat on a porch swing we had put up ourselves, side by side, shoulders touching. I held a mug of coffee in my hands. She held tea. For a long time, we just rocked back and forth, listening to the creak of the chains and the soft sounds of the neighborhood. If you could go back, she said suddenly, her voice quiet, to the day in my office when I slid that folder across the desk, would you still sign the contract? I thought about it. I thought about my old apartment with peeling paint and a rattling heater. About my dad's hospital bills stacked on my table. About my mom crying silently in our kitchen in Texas. About the fear that sat in my chest like a stone. I thought about Luna that day in her office. The sharp suit. The careful eyes. The folder that held my worst fears in neat, printed lines. I thought about how angry I was. How desperate. How lost. Then I thought about everything that came after. The penthouse. The awkward dinners. The first soft smile. The gala. Derek's tests. The family estate. The night in that room with the fire and the one bed. The camera. The boardroom. Eleanor's voice. The hallway where we chose each other for real. This porch. This little house. This woman beside me. I would sign faster, I said. She turned to look at me. Faster. Yes, I said. Because that was the day the pretending started. And the day I started walking toward you. I did not know it then. But now I do. Her eyes softened. She set her mug down on the little table and slid closer. Her head came to rest on my shoulder. I wrapped an arm around her and pulled her in. You know, she said, I told myself I was being smart back then. Just doing what I had to do. But I was lonely. I had power and no peace. I had a title and no one to share it with. Then this man from Texas walked into my office and said the dumbest thing I ever heard in a proposal meeting. I laughed. You mean when I asked if we had to share a bed? Yes, she said, smiling. That. Do you ever wish you had picked someone else? I asked. The question came out before I could stop. Maybe some part of me still needed to hear the answer. She lifted her head and looked straight at me. No, she said. I picked the man who was honest enough to ask the wrong question in the right moment. The man who signed a cold contract and somehow warmed my whole life. The man who loved me in front of a room of people who were ready to tear us apart. My throat tightened. I swallowed hard. You know, I said, you changed my answer. Your answer to what? She asked. To your first question, I said. When you asked me to pretend to be your husband for 1 year. She smiled, her eyes searching my face. And what is your answer now, Mr. Bennett? I took her hand and laced our fingers together. Now, I said, every time I look at you, every time I wake up with you beside me, my answer is the same. I turned her hand, kissed her palm, and held it against my chest. Yes, I said. For 1 year. For 10. For all of them. I want to be your husband. No pretending. No contract. Just us. She leaned in and kissed me, slow and sure. No fear. No act. My boss once said, pretend to be my husband for 1 year. Now, sitting on that porch with her hand in mine and a whole new life around us, I knew my answer had changed forever.
If this story stays with your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you.